whatever. And then in this
How you doing, everybody? Well, I was watching that. I don't know if y'all watched this Trump and Zelensky exchange last night or this morning or whenever it was. I did. And I'm kind of it kind of distressed me. It really does. Because
going through some money problems. Penny pinching. Listen, somebody's going through some money.
It kind of distresses me to see. When you think of it like this, we've always been a leader in the world. Is that because we were blessed with a lot of mature resources and things coming in? I don't think so. What I do think is that just like we garnered a lot of the peace initiatives and things that had been happening in the world. We generally had our hands in it, but we had our hands in it for whatever reason. And they generally like you look at Israel. We looked out for them, because being this is 1947. They gave them their land stuff, and they fought. They've had to fight for it all this time. It's been a rough road. Now, Russia. I remember when I was a kid, and back in I think it was 1968 or something like that, when I watched them walk into was it Czechoslovakia? And they do that kind of things a lot. They do that stuff a lot, with their satellite countries. But back then, all those countries were all together with the Soviet Union. Now, they decided to break up, okay? And they're still holding over these countries that they said were supposed to be free. They're holding over them but you still have to be with us, and you have to do what we say. Now, that's not freedom. And we as Americans know that would never set with us. We're not going to have anybody determine our fate. We're going to make sure that we determine our own fate. And that's what we should do, and that's what everybody should do. We've gotten down to civil war at it before, We decided what our country was going to be about. Now, here's the reason I say all that. Because when they wrote our Constitution, they left somebody out. They left blacks out. And so it took that Civil War to get that back right. Now, and we're evolving into a time when, it's going better for everybody, I guess. They are Americans and so are we. It probably isn't perfect, but, there was a lot of harm done there, so people are healing as the generations go by. It looks like to me. You see, now when they started this Ukrainian war, now the first things what I really saw was, when I guess Russian soldiers went in there and had old people kneeling down and they were executing them. Now, I don't know who else of y'all out there saw that or, watched the news, people come in and they, they had these Ukrainian guys that they weren't really soldiers. They were fighting for their country. They knew it. It's fight or die. And they were proving it by taking their old people and shooting them. And I don't think they have any other choice but to fight. Now, the reason why that fight came about, I think, I think that they wanted to get with NATO, and somebody probably gave them an idea that maybe they could, but, in order to keep the peace, because of Mr. Putin, who was just didn't want, he wasn't going to have it. And it's either we either stand behind him and let him be, or we have to step out of it and say it's none of our concern, and that's a war that you'll have to fight. And we've helped them along the way, giving them arms and whatnot. Now, what I saw, what I've seen now, and then you've got Mr. Trump, who's out here wanting to take a bunch of resources out of their country. But I mean, he went in there and talked with Mr. Putin, who seems to be good friends with old Mr. Trump. Now here's why I say that's wrong. That's kind of messed up, because maybe this ain't none of my business. Maybe I'm stepping a little out of my lane. I don't care, because first off, when someone's down and they're in the middle of a war, we don't go kicking them, And I always thought that, for the most part, we took the high road when it came to these things. But maybe we didn't. I myself was a part of the Vietnam War, and I don't think that we really took the high road there either. I think that a lot of mistakes were made, but we learned our lessons on that. You would think that we did anyway. Maybe we didn't. Maybe this is another mistake that we've jumped into. Because the way I see it, if you're going to stick your nose into somebody's fight, then you're going to get anything that comes back at you. And here they are trying to get Mr. Zelensky to roll over. And I don't care what anybody says, and although I would say we lost that war in Vietnam, but listen, people are dying over there, and I don't see, as a warrior, anybody wants to just to lay down and really, I don't think that Mr. Trump should be siding in with Mr. Putin. The fact of the matter is that was Mr. Putin's screw up. I mean, if they're a sovereign nation, and Putin's a sovereign nation, and this sovereign nation goes and marches into the Ukraine and does all these heinous things, and it's just basically trying to take over their country, take it away from them. Well, who's in the wrong and who's in the right? The way I see it, Mr. Putin's in the wrong. But, like I said, Russia's always had a fucking tendency to do that, to just do a coup here or there. And now he's got our president thinking the same way, because I think him and Mr. Musk are basically doing the same thing to us. I mean, he's not abiding by any of our long-standing practices of our government. Like I said, the Constitution seems to be going right out the window. And here's the reason why I tell you all that, because, you are that spiritual community that I like so much, Because when we get spiritual, we start learning how to treat people, and we start doing them right, and we understand that's probably one of the bedmarks of our ways. It's not a religion. It is just being human and believing that there's a God who watches us and sees us and takes care of us. And according to that God, granted, God, during the Old Testament, you see, he's a warring God, and he still is. He will fight for his children. And how many of those people in Ukraine are God's people? I imagine quite a few of them are. I mean, fact of the matter is, we are all over the world. And Mr. Trump, I ask you to re-examine your position on this thing, because you are representing the American people. And we're a little more moral than that when it comes to wars and things. We don't just go around picking shit and taking over people's countries and taking the resources out of them as a result. Listen, we offered them the help, and and if they needed it. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. And just like when we were a fledgling country, we were a fledgling country. We didn't have anything, have a lot of money or anything to wage war against our adversary, and a country stepped in to help us, and we had to pay those people back, and rightfully so. And they didn't say, "Here, we're going to take all your resources now out of your country that you probably will need to rebuild." No, we didn't do that to them. That's kicking them when they're down. No, we had to pay them back, and it was France who helped us in that. If anybody knows their American history. And the one thing that Constitution demanded was that the idea of one man going in there, or two men for that matter, going in and just doing anything they want to because they think they're in charge. Remember this, Mr. President. You work for us. You work for the world, for the United States, the people of the United States. You work for us. We don't work for you. And you should probably go into your Congress and ask them what they think of what you're doing. Now, I understood that you got all your GOP fellas in there who seem to be bending your rule, and that's what has made our country has got a broken government, because you people don't stand on anything or stand for anything. Whatever he tells you to do, you do it. I mean, that's not the way it's supposed to work. Granted, president is supposed to have foreign affairs, but check yourself and how you're doing and what you're wanting out of this. There is a God who's watching, and if we're going to if we want God to bless us, I mean, really, and that's a good idea. I mean, that's a good thing. We want God to think that we're doing right, and we want to do what's right. And the American people have always been inherently that way. We offered people care and we offered them help. If they were trying to escape, some bad situation of another country's government, they couldn't, worship God. It's how most of us came to be here. We are running from being persecuted somewhere else. So the Pilgrims came here, and sure, they nearly all died by the first year, but they made it. They did make it on, and they made it because there are people that the Indians that lived around there, they didn't send it to war. They may have been smarter if they would have, but they didn't be mean to them. They helped them out. They taught them how to make it, make a go of it here. They helped. Now, we need to get ourselves back up on moral ground here. And we don't have to offer them bombs and bullets. We should offer them humanitarian care. That is the right thing to do, Mr. Trump. Not demand that they roll over and take it up the butt for Mr. Putin, because Mr. Putin doesn't have any love for anybody. How many times during this war have we heard Mr. Putin threaten nuclear war? Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid of people like that. You want to bomb us? Bomb us. You still got to answer when you get up there. Believe this. How many times do you think that God's probably stepped in and saved us all from things like that happen? I'm sure many times. Really. God's watching. And I believe that if we take the moral ground here, we do the right thing, then it can work out a lot better than this ground that we're taking. That's not us. That's not the American people's way. Anyway, but there's one way we on the spiritual community can combat some of these ripples that are being caused in the matrix, would you say. Treat everyone with love. Help everyone that you can help. It seems like times are going to get harder here, and it's due to Mr. Trump and Mr. Musk. But help out when you can, and show love to your fellow man. That's what we should be doing. And I know that the American people are with that. They don't want to see those people over there being killed for no good reason other than someone wants to take their land, or they didn't want them to be part of NATO. And Mr. Trump, those NATO allies that you just snub, finger your nose at, we have been allies for over 50 years. Now all of a sudden you want to snub your nose at him and be buddies with Mr. Putin, who, by the way, although we helped them in World War II, they wouldn't have been able to do anything until we helped them build an army, build stuff that they would need. Mr. Stalin was sitting in his house not knowing what to do when Mr. Hitler came marching in his door, So, and the American people who got him going. But as soon as it was over, it was like build an iron curtain and stuff. They've never been an open society. They've always been like, this is ours, and we're gonna rule it with an iron fist. Okay, Nobody is defecting America to go to Russia. Although we've had a bunch of them defect to go to America, at least at some time in our existence. Now, I don't know what comes of us now. I really don't, because it doesn't look as bright as it used to. But I don't think that it should be halted. Our growth should come to be good and not be bad. And that's a bad mark on us. We go around helping Putin take over the satellite countries. Really. It's not our business. Send humanitarian aid and step out of it, Mr. Trump. That's what you need to do, because you're not playing right here. That's all I got to say to y'all. I don't know. Maybe someone's going to hate me for it. I don't care. I really don't care. Just thank God we've got freedom of speech here. And one of the things I was told to do is give a voice to those who don't have one. And right now, those Ukrainian people don't have one. So God bless you all. Have a good night. I thank you for listening.